Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here at TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So the MVP heavy hitters will be stepping out tomorrow. Names we're familiar with and names that became really popular in 2024. Well, a lot of people were sleeping on, some of these athletes, but the Jamaicans knew they would be coming, and this season they've definitely turned up and showed out. And guess what? They'll be taking to the track internationally tomorrow to show off their exploits against the rest of the world and show that yes, Jamaica is where the thing there. Now tomorrow they will line up at the World Athletics Continental Tour Gold, the Gule Istvan Memorial that will be held in Hungary. And as I said, heavy hitters are lining up. We're talking about the likes of a Kishane Thompson will be there, Shericka Jackson. We're talking about Clayton and also other Jamaicans. We're talking about Lani will be there as well. So these races are definitely going to be hot, and I'm excited to see what will come out of these particular races. Now, trackies, I have to also highlight that unfortunately I don't have the full lineup for each event. I just have a few athletes that will be participating against our heavy hitters, and that's what the focus is going to be, the athletes that are now named that will be taking part in the events. Now I want to start with the women's 100 meters, and boy oh boy, Tia Clayton lines up there, and after that phenomenal 10.86 seconds done in the semi-final at the national championships, we're dying to see what will happen when she gets to Paris. Now we know that Stephen Francis and the MVP club, they're famous for also not having their athletes really go to these meetings right after the trials and do something stupendous, right? We're literally saving that moment for the actual Olympic Games, but still I want to see something that mirrors, not necessarily exactly like time or performance, but something close enough to what we saw in Kingston done by these athletes. So when I look at a Tia Clayton, she lines up against a Tamari Davis and also a Tamara Clark. Those are the names that are available right now that she'll be facing off in the 100 meters against. Now, so far, Tamari has done a 10.91 and a Tamara Clark 10.95. So all these athletes have dipped below 11 seconds so far this season. Of course, Tia being the fastest of them all. Now, incidentally, none of these athletes also made the individual team for their Olympic team USA, right? So with that being said, in my opinion, though I'm not necessarily expecting Tia to go out there and necessarily run her personal best again, I'm expecting her to be in and around 11 seconds, someplace maybe slightly below 11 seconds, maybe like a 10.9 something for a win in this race. In my opinion, I believe that she will have this field covered, and I do believe she takes her first senior race in Europe. I believe she takes this win. I don't recall her doing any other professional races in Europe since she's gone pro. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I definitely have her taking this win. And of course, for me personally, builds confidence heading into Paris that yes, I can do this, yes, I got this, yes, I can cover these girls, you know what I mean? So that's my expectation from a Tia. I expect her to win this race, right? As I said, not really expecting a personal best match in times, because I'm expecting the real peak to come in Paris, right? So this race, I expect, something, maybe in and around 11 seconds, as I said, but I do have her walking away with the win. Y'all can always tell me in the comment section, though. Again, the only names I have so far, Tia, Tamari, and Tamara, right? Who do you have taking that women's 100 meters? Now, let's jump over to the women's 200 meters, because this one, at this point, you may have been thinking, hey, the women's 100 meters is hot, but I'm telling you, the women's 2 is fire. It is scalding hot, right? This is like molten lava at this particular point to how this 200 meters is hot, and I'm here for it, absolutely. Now, lining up, we have Shericka Jackson, we have Julien Alfred, we have Daryl Nita, and we have Lene Tavate Thomas. So those are the athletes that line up in the 200 meters. Those are the names that I have so far. Clearly, all lanes will be filled, but these are the names that I have right now in the 200. Now, Shericka so far has run a 22.29. She did that to win at the national championships. Interestingly, Julian Alfred has only run one 200 so far this season, and she ran that way, earlier on in the season and ran at 22.58. Then we have a Daryl Nita, her best so far this season at 22.46, and Lene, second to Shericka at the national championships with her 22.34 seconds. Now, this is a very, very interesting race to me because Shericka Jackson, as I've been indicating to a lot of you people and a lot of people that had a problem with how Shericka is trending this season, I said, just follow the levels and see what's happening with, the MVP track club. Everything is literally being streamlined for the Paris Olympic Games. And week in, week out, we literally are seeing Shericka get that much better, that much faster, and that much closer to times that she's already done. And also, based on, signs, we could be seeing something even more impressive from her once she gets into Paris. So this particular racetrack will be interesting on the heels of what she did at the national championships. I do expect her in this race. So it's kind of the reverse of what I, expect from a Tia. And that is because, Shericka didn't actually run a personal best at her championships, right? She ran a 22.29. So in my opinion, I'm expecting this 200 meters to be a bit faster than what she ran at the national championships. No, what's interesting is that Julian Alfred didn't have to go through, selection. So it'll be interesting to see what she brings in this race. And of course, we all know Lani came up second to Shericka Jackson there. If I'm supposed to rank athletes in terms of my expectations, I would rank Julian Alfred higher than everybody else in this field, other than Shericka Jackson, based on personal best, clearly, and ability as well. I definitely would rank Julian Alfred higher than everybody else. So I think the biggest challenger to Shericka Jackson right now would be a Julian Alfred. Now, considering that at the national championships, Lanier ran at 22.34, and of course, Lanier said, hey, I wasn't, I didn't come into this championship peaked, right? I'm still training through the championship. So this is not my best. My best is yet to come. And I'm expecting the same thing for Julian Alfred as well, where we're not necessarily going to be seeing peak performance here, but I'm definitely expecting a time that will be challenging, if not sub 22 in this particular race from a Julian Alfred, right? So with that being said, the question now becomes, is Shericka Jackson ready to run a sub 22? Well, given what we saw at the trials last week, and I do believe that Shericka Jackson was in and around sub 22 shape. I've been talking about it before. She ran a very measured race in that finals, didn't do too much. So I believe that she definitely had sub 22 in her legs right there, maybe like a 22, maybe like a 21.9, right? That's what I, expected from her if she had gone full blast in that race, which she did not, right? Is she going to go full blast in this race? I definitely expect a faster performance from her. Definitely also expect her to try to, get a win, because she talked about, how she felt losing, those 200-meter races, considering that she hasn't lost at 200 meters in so many years. So I'm expecting her to understand who the challenger is in this race, which in my opinion is a Julian Alfred, and also, rise to that challenge and also defeat that challenge, right? So if I'm expecting Julian to, come out running a sub 22, my expectation is also to see Shericka Jackson, be able to one-up her in this race and cover her running, a sub 22 as well. But if she loses to a Julian Alfred in this race, I'm not necessarily going to be surprised, though I do want her to win, right? Now, with that being said, who do I have running out, top three? I'm giving it to Lani. I'm definitely giving it to Lani. I love what I've been seeing from Lani this season. She has been progressing really well, right? I don't really like our athletes playing second fiddle to anybody, but it seems as though everybody in that camp is playing second fiddle, to a Julian Alfred. But she's that good, she's that talented. And I have a very interesting video coming up on Julian Alfred as well, so you guys can look out for that. Now, Trackies, moving away from the women's 200 meters, let's jump into the men's 100 meters, right? Where Kishane Thompson, after blasting, right? Well, can we even call it blasting? I mean, it's a phenomenal time, but did he actually blast? No, I don't think he blasted off just yet. So after running at 9.77 seconds, to win at our championships, right? The trials to select the team to the Olympic Games, he steps out for the first time after that, and I'm sure, I'm positive 100% that all eyes are on Kishane Thompson right now. And after all, he's the fastest man in the world, and for some came out of nowhere. For us, not really, because we've been watching him, especially last season. I keep harping on the fact that for an athlete to run only 5 100-meter races and have 4 sub-10 clock-ins. That is very, very impressive. And it's kind of shocking to me that the rest of the world didn't really, focus on him, even though we've been talking about him since last year. But anyway, with that being said, Kishane steps out and he lines up against the likes of an Akane Simbine. So far, he has a fastest time of 9.94 done at Oslo, though I do believe he has a 9.91 done at the Adidas Games, though that's not registered on IAAF or World Athletics. It seems as though they refuse to recognize any performances done at that particular meeting. And I guess that's, finally time for Adidas to dash for that, fake track, right? Since none of the performances there are recognized globally, right? So there's a Akane Simbine that he lines up against and a Letsile Tebogo. Now, Letsile Tebogo hasn't broken 10 seconds so far this season. He's run a 10.13, but we do know his season was interrupted by the untimely passing of his mother. So he's really just getting back into things, right? So my expectation for him is a little bit different, though I am expecting him to turn up in Paris and be ready. After all, he has a personal best of 9.88 seconds. I'm definitely expecting him to turn up not only in the 100, but in the 200 meters as well and be a strong challenger. But that being said, I don't have anybody challenging Kishane Thompson in this 100 meters at all. Not at all. Do I have him running a personal best in this particular games tomorrow? No, I don't have him run a personal best. Similar to Tia, right? I just believe that they'll be doing enough to win this race. Just an execution race as far as I'm concerned. To be working on the little finer details that Steven is pointing out, to these athletes to work on before they head into, the Paris Olympic Games. So in my opinion, we may get a 9.8 high potentially from a Kishane to win this race, and he will do that effortlessly. Trackies. For me, saying 9.8 effortlessly sounds crazy, but for Kishane, he's definitely within his capabilities to do a 9.8, effortlessly, in my opinion. So I definitely see, a 9.8 effortlessly from him, right? Or effortlessly from him, right? And then I do have Akane Simbine taking second. I do think he's been running really well in 2024. It looks like, his target is this year because he's always, been fourth, so, or most of the times he ends up fourth at these Olympic Games, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm saying that, hey, especially earlier on in the season, he is definitely targeting this time, trying to be on the podium. Unfortunately, this year, there are a lot of men that are coming out really, really strong. So we have the likes of a Kishane and an Oblique Seville that are, completely ripping it right now. And then there's still Ferdinand Omeniala. Then there's still the American lot, you know what I mean, that are also doing absolutely phenomenal. All their athletes are 9.8 athletes right now. So, I mean, it's going to be tough for Akane when he gets to Paris. But right now, I definitely have him in a solid second. For Letsile Tebogo, anything faster than his fastest time done so far this season is a positive for me, right? And I know, as I said, when he gets to the Olympic Games, he'll be turning things up a notch and be ready to compete and compete well. But anyway, Trackies, those are my thoughts as it relates to this particular meeting that comes up tomorrow. Again, it is the Gule Istvan Memorial that will be held in Hungary. It is a World Athletics Continental Tour Gold meeting. And yes, I am excited for the performances from our Jamaicans 100% to go out and, just reaffirm to a few people that are doubting them that, hey, we're here and we're strong and we are going to be doing our thing in Paris. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As usual, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.